Did you know Cleopatra, the last queen of Egypt, wasn't actually Egyptian? This is one of the many intriguing aspects surrounding the enigma that is Cleopatra. Born in 69 BC, she was a member of the Ptolemaic dynasty, a family of Greek origin that ruled Egypt after Alexander the Great. Despite her reign over Egypt, she was not of Egyptian descent but of Greek Macedonian ancestry. This common misconception is often a result of her profound impact on Egyptian history and culture. However, it's essential to note that her lineage traces back to the Greek general Ptolemy, who was a companion of Alexander the Great. This lineage, steeped in power and prestige, set the stage for Cleopatra's eventual ascension to the throne. Her unique blend of Greek and Egyptian influences, combined with her political acumen, made Cleopatra a force to be reckoned with in her time. So, let's delve into the life of this Macedonian queen who ruled Egypt and changed history forever. Born into a world of power and privilege, Cleopatra's early life was anything but ordinary. As the daughter of Pharaoh Ptolemy IV, her days were filled with lessons in politics, philosophy, and the arts, all under the tutelage of the finest scholars of Alexandria. Her education was not just confined to the domestic affairs of Egypt, but extended to the wider world as well. She mastered several languages including Greek, Egyptian, Aramaic, and even Latin, a rarity among Egyptian rulers, demonstrating her keen intellect and adaptability. Cleopatra wasn't just a product of her privileged upbringing, though. She possessed a charisma and astuteness that set her apart from her royal siblings. These qualities were evident from an early age, and they played a crucial role in her ascension to the throne. When her father passed away, Cleopatra, barely 18 years old, was thrust into a position of immense power and responsibility. She was now Cleopatra VII, the Queen of Egypt. Her ascension, however, was not a smooth transition. She was expected to share the throne with her brother, Ptolemy XIII, as per the traditions of the Ptolemaic dynasty. Yet Cleopatra was not one to merely play second fiddle. She had the ambition and the intelligence to rule Egypt in her own right, and she wasn't afraid to defy traditions to assert her authority. But Cleopatra's early reign was not just about power struggles and political machinations. She was also a reformer, keen on improving the lives of her subjects. She initiated economic reforms, encouraged trade, and even took steps to elevate the status of women in Egyptian society. Her actions showcased a leader who was not only intelligent and ambitious, but also compassionate and forward-thinking. Cleopatra's early life and reign were marked by a blend of privilege, intelligence, charisma, and ambition. It set the stage for her to become one of the most influential and celebrated rulers of ancient Egypt. But her reign was not without challenges, as we shall see next. In a world dominated by men, Cleopatra knew she needed powerful allies. Cleopatra, a woman of immense intellect and charm, understood that the political landscape of her era was a treacherous one. She was a queen in a world where power was predominantly held by men, and Rome, the great superpower of the time, was expanding its reach. One of her most significant alliances was with none other than Julius Caesar, the formidable Roman general and statesman. Following the death of her father, Ptolemy XIV, Cleopatra was driven into exile by her younger brother, who had seized the throne. However, Cleopatra was not one to quietly accept defeat. She saw an opportunity in Julius Caesar, who was in Egypt chasing a rival. Cleopatra famously had herself smuggled inside a carpet to meet Caesar, marking the beginning of a political and romantic alliance that would change the course of history. With Caesar's military support, she reclaimed her throne from her brother. Her alliance with Caesar extended beyond the political sphere. They became lovers, and she bore him a son named Caesarion. However, their relationship was cut short by Caesar's untimely death. But Cleopatra, ever the tactician, didn't miss a beat. She quickly aligned herself with Mark Antony, a powerful Roman general and politician. Cleopatra and Mark Antony shared a legendary love story, but their alliance was also a strategic one. Antony needed Egypt's wealth to fund his military campaigns, and Cleopatra needed Antony's support to keep Egypt independent from Rome. Together they formed a formidable power couple, challenging Rome's dominance. However, these alliances also led to her downfall. Her relationship with Antony drew the ire of Octavian, Caesar's adopted son, and Antony's political rival. A series of events led to a war, which resulted in the defeat and subsequent suicides of Antony and Cleopatra, marking the end of her reign and the Ptolemaic dynasty. Cleopatra's alliances, while initially her greatest strength, ultimately led to her tragic end. Cleopatra's reign was a tumultuous one, filled with war, betrayal, and eventually, her tragic end. The final act of Cleopatra's life began with the death of Julius Caesar in 44 BC. Caesar's demise triggered a power struggle in Rome, and Cleopatra found herself in the midst of it all, aligning with Mark Antony against Caesar's adopted son, Octavian. Cleopatra and Antony's union was not only romantic, but also strategic, a bond intended to fortify their political and military might. Yet their combined forces were not enough to withstand the onslaught of Octavian's army. The Battle of Actium in 31 BC marked the beginning of their downfall. This naval confrontation in the Adriatic Sea resulted in a crushing defeat for Cleopatra and Antony, a failure from which they would not recover. In the aftermath of this defeat, Antony wrongly believed that Cleopatra had been killed, leading him to take his own life. Upon hearing of Antony's death, Cleopatra was said to be heartbroken. She too met her end, but the circumstances surrounding her death remain a mystery. The most popular account is that of her suicide by an asp, a venomous snake. According to this narrative, Cleopatra had the snake smuggled into her chamber in a basket of figs and allowed it to bite her, choosing to die rather than be paraded as a captive in Octavian's triumph. However, some historians challenge this story, suggesting that Cleopatra was murdered. They argue that Octavian, wanting to avoid the scandal of killing a woman, might have arranged for her assassination. Regardless of the true circumstances of her death, what's undeniable is the impact of Cleopatra's life and reign. She was a woman of immense intelligence and charisma, who navigated a world of power and intrigue that was typically dominated by men. With her death, Cleopatra left behind a legacy that would be remembered for centuries to come. Indeed, her story continues to captivate us, a tale of ambition, love, and tragedy set against the backdrop of one of history's greatest empires. Cleopatra's influence didn't end with her death. It continues to be felt even today. The Queen of the Nile, Cleopatra, has left an indelible mark on the sands of time. Her legacy is multifaceted, complex, and enduring, just like her life. Cleopatra is remembered as a powerful queen who wielded her authority with astuteness and finesse. She ruled Egypt at a time when it was one of the most prosperous nations, and she did so with an iron hand concealed in a velvet glove. Her reign was marked by significant political and economic reforms that contributed to Egypt's prosperity. Yet, Cleopatra is often remembered more for her seductive allure than her political prowess. Historical accounts and legends alike paint her as a woman of extraordinary beauty and charm. She is frequently depicted as a femme fatale who used her beauty to manipulate powerful men, but this narrow portrayal often overshadows her intelligence and political acumen. Cleopatra was more than just a beautiful queen. She was a shrewd diplomat, a brilliant strategist, and a visionary leader. She was fluent in several languages, and was well versed in mathematics, philosophy, and astronomy. Her intelligence was undoubtedly her most potent weapon. The legacy of Cleopatra transcends the boundaries of time and geography. She has been immortalized in art, literature, and popular culture. From Shakespeare's tragic heroine to Hollywood's glamorous icon, Cleopatra continues to captivate audiences worldwide. Her life and reign have inspired countless works of fiction and non-fiction, making her one of the most recognizable figures in history. Yet, the image of Cleopatra that resonates the most is that of a tragic figure. Her romantic liaisons, her political gambles, and her tragic end have contributed to this perception. But even in her tragedy, Cleopatra embodies resilience and determination, characteristics that make her a timeless symbol of female power. Cleopatra, a woman of intelligence and charm, left her mark on history, proving that a woman could rule in a world dominated by men. Her legacy is a testament to her enduring influence and the power of her personality. She remains to this day a symbol of strength, beauty, and intelligence. Cleopatra's life was a roller coaster of power, alliances, and tragedy. From her early life and reign, we saw a young queen facing the weight of an empire. She was not just a ruler, but a survivor, navigating the turbulent waters of politics in a world dominated by men. Her political alliances, particularly with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, were not simply romantic entanglements. They were strategic moves that allowed her to maintain her grip on power. But even the most astute political maneuvering couldn't save Cleopatra from her downfall. Her death, shrouded in mystery and tragedy, marked the end of an era. Yet her legacy endures. The name Cleopatra echoes through the corridors of history, a testament to her remarkable life. She left an indelible mark, not just on Egypt, but on the world. Cleopatra, the last queen of Egypt, a woman of strength and intelligence, continues to fascinate us, proving that her story is far more complex than what meets the eye.